Could a parent's marijuana use, even before their child is born, have an effect on how their kids do drugs?
According to a study just released from the University of Washington, the answer to that question is yes. So King 5's Amity Idrisi joins us with the details of this study.
Oh, yeah. Well, that study builds actually on research that started back in the 1980s. That's when UW's Social Development Research Group started looking at fifth graders at Seattle elementary schools and followed them up through their 30s. And they found that people who used marijuana in their teen years tended to have lower academic and economic outcomes than those who used as adults or just not at all. Now, this new study picks up where they left off, looking at their offspring. And here's what they found out. Kids whose parents used marijuana as adolescents or teens were 2.5 times more likely to use marijuana and 1.8 times likely to use alcohol. That's compared to children of non-users. In addition, parents who admitted to chronic use, which was ongoing and frequent, had kids who were 4 times more likely to use marijuana and almost 3 times more likely to use alcohol. So the science of why is still unclear, and more studies needed to uncover the relatively high usage in kids. However, the study's lead author, Dr. Marina Epstein, says that the takeaway, the bottom line, is that they've proven that the history of marijuana use in parents is an important risk factor in kids. Back to you.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about it more freely these days,
Yes,
for sure.
especially because it's legal here.
Exactly. Thanks, Amity.